Hey, what is up, Internet? This is Kyle with Slapshot Toys and Comics, doing another Square Enix Play Arts Kai variant action figure review. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at the Batman figure from the Batman Arkham Knight video game. I'm a massive Batman fan, and I was able to find this figure for an absolute steal, and I really enjoyed the video game, and I liked Batman's look in that game, so I was really excited to be able to add this to my collection. So let's go ahead and get Batman out of the packaging and take a look at the figure. And here's Batman out of the packaging, and my overall first impressions are this figure has some really cool design features, but it really has some design flaws, I feel, as well. Luckily, I was able to find this figure really cheap. I think I found it for $50 at my local GameStop. They were just trying to get rid of it, so I think it was 50% off. That's the only kind of complaint I have with the Square Enix figures right now, is they're starting to kind of creep up in the $150 to $200 range. Honestly, I think they'd be much better suited to stay at the $100 at the max. These are really cool figures, a lot of them, but they're not a hot toy. They're not some of the extremely high end, and I think that they're just trying to capitalize on this kind of wave of the extremely high end figures, and they're just not there. But there are a few little flaws I'll get into here in a little bit, but overall I think it's a fairly good designed figure, and it was well worth the $50 I paid for it. But let's take a look at the accessories that this figure did come with. Alright, first accessory I want to take a look at is the standard stand that come with all the Play Arts figures. It's a really nice little plastic stand. You just got to put it together, a couple little screws, really simple to put together, and it comes with two clamps. This is actually the small clamp, and then there's one larger one, and you can just adjust it here, just make it tighter around the figure's body. These stands work wonderfully. I actually use them with a lot of my other figures as well, but just a really nice inclusion from Square Enix. First pair of hands we are given are these closed fists. I really think these are sculpted really well. I really like those armor plating there on the back. Really like the brass knuckles. The paint apps look really good. I really like those like kind of dark shiny grays with the gold there on the knuckles. Gives it that real nice worn battle damaged look. I think that the overall aesthetic of the sculpt and paint just really suits this figure really well. The next option that we have are these kind of grabby, I guess, hands. And this looks really nice with all the sculpted lines there in the palm. That looks really cool. Like all the sculpted lines there on the thumb. And once again, you get the armor plating on the back. But, I mean, these are just kind of, I guess, reaching out and grabbing something hands. The next hands are almost identical to the ones I just showed before. The only difference is, if we look at them, this one has like the extremely bent thumb, whereas this one's more of an open, relaxed thumb. And then finally we have the holding hands. Now this works perfect for the grappling gun and the batarang. As you can see, just sliding that in, and then that holds that really nice and snug. And then same with the batarang. Just really simple, just to slide that in, and then that holds those really nice. The only thing I don't like is that the figure is pointed out, and then on both hands, the left and the right, they both have that finger kind of pointing. So it looks a little bit awkward. This side isn't nearly as bad with the batarang as far as the other one. It looks a little bit more natural, but it's still just kind of sitting there pointing, which I think is kind of weird. But, you know, it's the hands they gave us to hold these. We do get a batarang with this figure. This is actually a really nice size batarang. The sculpting, there's hardly anything other than like the little holes. I think there's supposed to be like a little bat symbol there in the center, but it's kind of hard to make out with how kind of small and not well detailed that it is. But there's no really sculpting on this at all, like I said, other than the holes. The silver paint's really nice, and on this side we do have like the DC logo right there, which kind of sucks, but I mean, I know they had to put it on there for copyright reasons, but it kind of sucks that they had to put it right there and it's that big. But overall, I guess it's a fairly nice batarang. It fits the scale of the figure quite well. We are also given a grappling gun with this figure, and this looks really cool. I really like the sculpting that they did, the little lines there up at the top. You can see like the actual little barrel right there. That looks nice in the silver. I kind of like the simple design that they used and the simple paint job for this. Nothing over the top, but you definitely notice the grappling gun. Looks really nice. And then this actual grappling hook comes out, and this is like a really kind of weird, like extremely soft material. And then you can just have it be the standard gun if you wanted, or you can just slide that right back in like so, and you can have the nice kind of hook already in the gun. But it's a nice option to display with this Batman. Taking a closer look at the figure itself, like I said at the beginning, I do like some of the things that they did. I like that they gave it a little bit more, like the armor, a little bit more of a kind of high-end technology feel to it, much like it was in the game, but I think they upped it just a little bit. So look at the sculpt on the face. I think the mask and everything that did, all the line work here, the ears look really good. I like all the sculpting they did kind of in the facial expressions. I think the eyes look really good. But one complaint that I do have is, what is this? This looks like Herman Munster wearing a Batman suit. I mean, this face is way too long for this body. It just, to me, it looks like Herman Munster. That's the only thing I can see every time I look at this, is just basically from any of the flesh tones there. It's just Herman Munster, which is just really odd in my opinion. And the couple friends I've shown this figure to, that's the first thing that they gravitate to as well, is how elongated the face is. And I just think that's a really odd choice, and I don't really know why they did that, but it just feels out of place. Going down to the neck, I really like all the sculpting that they did here, all the little different like pieces. It almost look like a Iron Man kind of robotic suit. I think that looks really good. Love all like the little rivets and all the screws that they put in the armor there across the chest. Honestly, I've seen some complaints about the Bat logo. I kind of like it. It's not game accurate, but it's still pretty cool. I mean, it's obviously the Bat symbol. I think that looks kind of cool, and I really like the carbon fiber effect that they put in there. Going down the abs, I love all the piece together like armor. I think that looks really good. And then again, you get the nice carbon fiber effect. And I really like that kind of gray, or that silver that then bleeds into the gray. I think the paint job came out really good on this one. And the same, I like that little black with that kind of carbon fiber effect. Going here, and the other thing I don't get is here on the body, I don't know why they sculpted it, because it's almost like, you know, his waist is here, and then all of a sudden, like, his ribs just expand a ton. And that just looks odd to me. And especially like if you move the articulation up just a little bit, it looks even worse. So I don't really understand what they were trying to go for there. Going down to the belt, I think that looks really cool with the yellows and the golds and the silvers. Like all the little pouches and all the detail that they put in that. Going over to the arms, once again, that looks pretty cool. I love these gauntlets and how like they added all that like kind of armor, Iron Man kind of technology to it. The spikes on the gauntlets look really good. Gloves look really good. I like the little Iron Man kind of, I keep calling it Iron Man because that's just what it reminds me of, but like the little Iron Man armor plates that look really cool. The paint's a little bit kind of iffy, especially for how much this figure originally was. There on the knuckles, that gold I think could be a little bit cleaner for $100. Going down the legs, again, you get more of that kind of carbon fiber look. Everything in there looks really good. I like that silver and dark gray that they use with the black. I think that looks really good. And then the boots look really cool. Once again, you get that kind of armor plating that I really like. Same with the boot or the shoes. I think that armor plating looks really good. And then the cape's kind of weird. So, you know, normally you get a Batman figure and it's, you know, a cloth or a rubber cape. This one's like a real hard vinyl rubber, so it doesn't really bend or move a whole lot. I mean, it has a little bit of give to it. I like that blue that they, under the lighting, that looks really cool. And I like the detail that they have. But it's just two separate pieces, and it can fold out like so. So it's kind of weird. It's really heavy. It's kind of hard to get the figure to stand up with it. So it's kind of an odd choice. Taking a look at the articulation on this figure, it's actually pretty good. If we look at as far as the head articulation, he can look up quite a bit. And one nice thing is the neck and the head both have ball joints in them. So you actually get an extra little range of motion with that neck because it's able to move forward and back. He can look down about that far. He does have side-to-side head motion there. As far as his arms, they go about 60 or 90 degrees to his body. The only kind of weird thing is you get this bunching up here of those rubbery shoulder pads that he has, so it looks a little bit weird. So I mean, really, you can only go about that far before it starts bunching up and looking weird. As far as the arms, he can go forward a little bit, and once again, you're kind of running in, since this is like a rubber material, if they're not out, it starts to bunch up and look kind of weird like that. So but he can go up about that far, and then he does have bicep rotation. His elbow actually has some really nice articulation. Get much more than a 90-degree range of motion there. That looks really nice. The gauntlets there at the elbow do rotate as well. His wrists do rotate, and they are hinged, so they move up and down like so. At his rib cage, he does have a ab crunch that can go back just a little bit. Once again, the cape kind of hinders how much motion you get out of that. He can look or move forward just a little bit there. He does kind of rock side and side on it, but once again, that kind of looks really weird. Once you move that, you get this gap here, and then it just looks awkward. So I try to keep it as centered as possible. There is rotation here at the waist, and once again, that kind of rocks to the side just a little bit as well. Not getting all that much motion out of it, so really it just rotates like so. He can do basically the full splits, which is really nice, and they do have that standard clicking that almost all the Play Arts figures have. He can kick up, actually just about 90 degrees from his body, so decent range of motion there. He can kick back, but unfortunately with that cape, that hinders how much motion you can really get. At the thigh there is rotation. He is double jointed at the knees, but you really don't get all that. I mean, because of the way the boot and the calf is sculpted, you don't get a whole lot of range of motion there, but there is a double joint there. And then as far as the feet itself, they go up and down on a hinge, actually a fairly good amount of motion. And then it does rotate, but there is no ankle pivot. So that is going to do it for my review of the Batman Play Arts Kai action figure from the Batman Arkham Knight video game. Once again, I think there's some awesome features on this Batman, but there are some really kind of questionable design choices I don't know why they went with, mainly being with the face and then the torso here. But overall, I think this is a really good figure. I think that for $50, it was well worth the purchase. I think Play Arts is doing some really cool things with their variant line, since these are variants are not exactly detailed the comics, movies, games, whatever, but I still think they look really cool. I love my Spider-Man and Venom figures, but the only thing with Play Arts is I just think they're a little bit too pricey for what they're going for now. Like I said, they're getting to the $150 to $200 range. I think they'd be much better suited for the absolute max, like $120, which is what Venom is. I think he was worth that figure for as much detail and everything was. But this Batman, just some of the design stuff that they went with, I just don't see spending, $150 to $200 for these figures. But, I mean, that's Square Enix's call, and unfortunately, if they do continue to stay that high, this will be probably my last Play Art figure, which kind of sucks because I do enjoy collecting them. I think they are cool. Like I said, this has some really cool design options, but I just don't think it's worth $150 to $200. But it's definitely worth the $50 if you can find it at GameStop. I still think they have them for $50 on their website. It's definitely worth that, so check their website out, and hopefully you can get it for the steal that I did as well. So once again, that is going to do it for me this evening. I want to thank you guys so much for checking out these videos. If you did like this video, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this figure, or if you think the Play Arts line is overhyped and overpriced as I do. I'd love to hear from you guys. And also go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on any of the future content I'll be uploading, including the Hot Toys Batman v Superman, Ben Affleck Batman figure that I'll hopefully be getting very shortly and be able to do a review and have that posted really quick. So make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss out on any of that content. But once again, that is going to do it for me this evening, so I'll catch you guys later. See ya.